Alright guys, welcome back to another edition of the How To series. This is a series of videos that we're putting together to help some of the newer players out. Maybe they just picked up the game, maybe they just hit level 70, or maybe they just need a recap because they haven't played in a while. In the previous video, we didn't have time to go over the jewel crafting, so we're going to do that in a really quick video. Most of it's pretty self-explanatory, but we're going to go over the importance of some of the areas you're going to want to put this in your gear and places you'll use this. So um, the gems, the marquee gems, are the ones that are going to drop off of the all the enemies throughout the world at the moment. You'll occasionally get an Imperial Emerald, which is an upgraded version of the marquee gem. So you've probably seen this. They scale up and they go up, and once you train, you'll go through. You spend the gold, you train up, and then you unlock the different stuff. And then you're also going to get patterns for the really top of the line gems, and these drop fairly early. And once you hit level 70, if you're fairly new to the game, you probably don't quite have the gold to get there yet to be able to craft all that stuff. But as you get gear, as you continue to level, you'll start accumulating gear. You'll start accumulating gold, and the game obviously will get tougher. You want to play on higher difficulty levels, and one way to get to those higher difficulty levels is to make sure that you are geared correctly and make sure you have the proper gems there. And it's going to change depending on what gear that you get at various points as far as what gems you want to have in there. We'll go over the importance of that. But real quickly, these are the newer gems. You'll start here. This is as low as it goes in Reaper of Souls. We'll use the amethyst here. If you put it, say, somewhere in your chest piece, the lower level here, you have 62 vitality. It scales very nicely compared to the original game. The expansion here has done a pretty good job of stressing the importance of leveling up the gems, more so than in the past, I feel. It's always important, of course, when you do start playing, that you do get superior gems. You want to make sure that you're at your maximum potential, and this is one way to do that. It scales up. You've got 100 vitality to 160, 220, and then eventually 280. And it's got other stuff there. I don't see too many people run with amethyst in their weapons. Normally, that's reserved generally just for strictly doing damage, and we'll go over that in a second. Places where you're going to want to put the amethyst gems are your pants, your chest piece, and your helmet. And in the helmet, it actually is not straight vitality, it's a life percentage. And this is a really good one. I think normally when you're running, especially at higher torment levels, you're going to want to make sure and have that extra life. And the gem that I have in there has an extra 22% life, which is pretty big. And then of course I've got the vitality on there as well. I've got a health pool of about 420,000, not terribly high, and I'm trying to work on building up my toughness. And your health and vitality, that actually does factor into the toughness number here. So that's one of the reasons why you're going to want to put that there. Other reasons why you might put, say, the diamond in, reduce cooldown of all skills. That would be nice, depending on what class you're running. There are other ways to achieve that, whether it be through gear or Paragon points. I don't normally see a lot of people running with that. The red gem increases bonus experience. Let's say you have somewhat decent gear and you're just out there farming for legendaries and say Torment 1, something like that, to where you're not going to die. And that extra bit of life probably isn't going to affect you. This is a good place if you're Paragon farming and you're not going to take much damage. That'd be good. But if you are, say, legendary farming, another good one to put in there is the Topaz here, and this gives you extra magic find. And of course, this scales up as you level up. And this is pretty good because they've pretty much done away with magic find on gear. There are only a few pieces out there, I believe, that have it. And the other way to get it, obviously, is by having people in your party. And it's very few and far between as far as ways to get the magic find. So this is another way. You're out there, you're farming. You don't necessarily need the life. This is a good thing to throw in your gem. If you've got the gold, it does take gold to, in this tab here, remove gem. And you can just put the item in there and click remove. It takes 250,000 to remove that gem there, and it will be a different amount based on what type of gem you have in there. So you've got that. Those are reasons why you would put that gem in the helmet. And as far as other stats go, other than the diamond, you've got the emerald, you've got the ruby, and you've got the topaz. All of those actually carry main stats for the main classes. So your red is going to increase strength, and that's for your crusader and barbarian. The emeralds are going to have dexterity, which are for your monks and demon hunters. And then the topaz is going to be for your witch doctor and your wizards with the extra intelligence. And this is a good way to bump up your damage. And depending on where you're farming, how much damage you're doing, you might have a lot of health. You might have a lot of gear that has resistances. You haven't been able to get as lucky with some that are doing as much damage. So you have, say, a high toughness, and you need to put out some more damage. So here I'm trying to farm higher torment levels, and I actually do a decent amount of damage. So I need to survive. So I've got resistances to all elements in here. And we've gone over that in other videos, or we soon will. And your all resistances, if you haven't scrolled over it, you just scroll over it. The amounts will vary because you'll have extra on certain pieces of gear under your secondary stats. Like there, for example, with the arcane resistance. This is going to reduce damage from that certain type, and you can also get physical resistance as well. So, mitigating some of the damage that's coming in, the all resistance is going to be there. You could have 600,000 life, but if you have 400 resistances and you're running in Torment 2, Torment 3, that life's not going to be there for very long. Yeah, you can take some hits, but there is a balance there, and it's the same way for toughness. You don't want to just stack vitality, you don't want to just stack resistances, you don't want to just stack armor, and all that stuff is going to factor into it. So you want to find a balance. You want to have enough resistances. You want to have enough health. You want to have enough armor. I could definitely use for some higher resistances myself for the higher torment farming, but we're getting there, and we're finding more gear to obtain that. So those are reasons. Let's say you do have enough toughness, though. You could easily throw, say, a dexterity gem, since I'm a demon hunter in there, and the extra dexterity. Because these scale so well, the higher up you can get these, obviously you don't want to tap yourself out of gold like I do. But you'll want to throw whatever class-specific gem is in there to get that extra damage. But for me now, I've got the resistances and I've got the vitality. So that's all going to be dependent on what gear you've got. Maybe you get a couple items, maybe you're rocking a shield. It's going to depend on your play style and where your toughness is, and pretty much what you feel comfortable with. If you find you're out there and you're not taking a lot of damage, but you're not dealing enough damage, and you're grinding really slow, maybe change out some of your gems. This is just small ways to kind of maximize your character. So and that's for these three pieces here, and that's all your armor, and that's where the stats are going to come into play. As far as your weapons go, very rarely will you see anybody run without a crit hit damage gem in here. This does a significant amount of damage. Your crit hit damage, obviously, the higher you crit, the more chance you have, and then the damage that it's going to effectively do. And of course, that's going to be a range. But if you've got an item and it doesn't have a socket in it, and you're running around and you feel pretty strong, go ahead and run over to the enchanter, and go ahead and try and roll a socket in there, or look for gear that has a socket in there. And we've gone over the gear in another video, so if you want to check that out, it'll be in the description below. But I'm running 2 one-handers here. This is a good way to get your damage up quite significantly. Obviously, as a demon hunter, I can run 2 one-handers here. Barbarians could do the same. Crusaders could do the same. And I've got 130 here and 125 here. So I've got an extra 255% crit hit damage, which is pretty nice. It's pretty significant. And then, of course, there are other reasons why I'm running 2 one-handers, which we've gone over in other videos. But as far as focusing on the gems, folks, survival are your purple and white gems, and your other color gems are going to be strictly for damage. Now, I don't want to say strictly for damage, because if intelligence actually adds to your resistances, so if you're a witch doctor or a wizard, you're actually going to benefit from all resist from the diamonds, or I'm sorry, the topaz with the intelligence on there. So you'll actually get that back. it's actually a pretty nice, deal to have with that. Same for demon hunters and monks. They're actually going to benefit from dexterity as far as toughness goes. So you actually will get a little bit back. It's not strictly for offense. You'll actually get a little bit of defense out of it as well, a little bit of toughness. And same for barbarians and crusaders. The strength is also going to count towards their armor. So you've got all these gems here. You're trying to figure out, well, how do I gear up? What gems do I put where? And I just wanted to go over this real quick as far as how all this goes. If you're into the whole crafting thing, basically it takes 3 of the lesser gem. So you've got your marquee gems. You go here, it costs 200,000 per gem, so it's not cheap. And then you scale up another 3. And so, it takes, you keep crafting and leveling up, and then eventually it gets up here, and it actually takes the Death's Breath for these, really high top of the line gems, and you'll find these patterns pretty early on when you're farming. And if you have the gold to get there, then by all means, it's definitely worth the upgrade to maximize the potential of your character. So hopefully that covers a little bit. It's pretty basic. If you haven't figured it out now, if you had a little bit of questions on far as where should I gem, what should I gem for, it will vary, but hopefully that covers the basics of it and what you're looking for. If you got any questions or comments as far as why we would gem certain ways, or a little bit, maybe on your gear and stuff like that, go ahead and leave those in the comments below. Be happy to answer those, help out in any way I can. We've got a good group of folks that tend to answer a lot of questions. There are a lot of good group of gamers out there. Of course, you got the bad apples, but that comes with the territory. But overall, we've got a lot of good people that are seem to be answering a lot of questions down in the comments. So don't be afraid to ask them. We're here to help, and that's what these videos are for. I'm not going to go into the extreme details in all these videos because I'm just trying to make these quick and simple for you guys to kind of get started, get going, and get geared up and enjoy the game. Until next time, guys, look for more videos. And until then, happy hunting, and thanks for watching.